At 82, I've learned a lot about life. But there's one choice I deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it sounded right. My family promised care, comfort, and peace of mind. I believed them. Then I arrived, and the reality wasn't what I imagined. If you're considering this either for yourself or someone you love, please watch until the end. I'll share 6 things I wish I'd known before I moved in. Nursing homes aren't just about convenience. They change everything. And once you go in, getting out isn't as simple as you think. Let's begin. Regret 1: losing my independence. The biggest shock wasn't the small room, the set meal times, or the new faces. It was losing control over my own life. Life once flowed with a gentle rhythm, soothing me with its comforting predictability. I cherished each moment, free from the threat of change. Every meal was thoughtfully selected, and every stroll turned into a little adventure, with the world beckoning just outside my door. However, everything altered when I shifted my surroundings. That precious sense of independence vanished. Although a world of new experiences lay ahead, I found myself longing for the simple, cherished joys of my past. They faded like distant echoes, lost amid a haze of uncertainty. Adaptation became essential, yet I couldn't shake my desire for the familiar comforts that defined my former life. Inside the nursing home, time belonged to the schedule. Breakfast at a certain hour, even if I wasn't hungry. Lights out on cue, even if I wasn't tired. Want to go outside? You might need permission. And you'll probably wait until someone is available to help. Simple choices, what to wear, what to eat, started to feel like privileges, not basics. I remember my first week, waking in a bed that didn't feel like mine, reaching for the book I'd been reading at home, but it wasn't there. The walls were sterile, the chair unfamiliar, and it hit me. I wasn't in charge anymore. The hardest part is this: once you give up independence, getting it back is almost impossible. You adapt because you have to. You stop asking for changes. You fit into the system. And slowly, pieces of yourself fade. If you're thinking about a nursing home, ask yourself, am I ready to give up the small freedoms that define my days? Because once they're gone, you'll miss them more than you think. Regret 2: feeling forgotten. One of the hardest truths is that the world outside keeps moving without you. At first, my family visited often. My daughter came weekly. The grandkids on weekends. It felt like I still belonged to my old life. But months passed. Visits turned into calls. Calls turned into "we'll try next week." Holidays were the toughest. Promises made, plans changed, and I sat in the common room watching others stare at the door, hoping today was the day someone remembered them. It's not that they stopped loving me. Life gets busy. When you're not around every day, people assume you're okay, that you're settling in. But the longer you're in a facility, the easier it is for others to forget how much you still need them. I remember one evening holding my phone, debating whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden. I set the phone down, and I realized this was my life now. Waiting, hoping, trying not to ask for too much. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, am I prepared for the loneliness? Because no matter how loved you are, once you're out of sight, it's easy to become out of mind. If you're still here and this resonates, comment number 10 so I know you're with me. Regret 3: losing my sense of purpose. I thought I was just changing where I lived. I didn't realize I was changing why I lived. At home, I had responsibilities, watering the plants, making coffee, tidying my space. Small things, but they gave me a reason to get up. In the nursing home, those rituals disappeared. Meals were made for me. Cleaning was done by someone else. The plants weren't mine anymore. At first, I told myself it would be nice to rest. But after a few weeks, the days felt long, stretched out with nothing to do but wait. I saw it in others too. People who once had energy and hobbies sat quietly, watching time pass. There was a man named James, 84, a barman all his life. At home, he was always fixing something, building little projects in his garage. Here, there were no tools, no projects, nothing for his hands to do. He slowly withdrew. His once strong hands rested idle in his lap. "I feel useless," he said one day. And I knew exactly what he meant. When you no longer have something to care for or work toward, life starts to lose its meaning. The mind slows down. The body follows. And soon you feel like just another name on a list. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? Because once you move in, finding purpose isn't as simple as filling time. You'll have to fight to hold on to the things that make you feel alive. Regret 4. Declining health faster than expected. The morning sun would stream through the kitchen window as I prepared my breakfast, the aroma of coffee wafting through the air. Each sip accompanied by a quiet reflection on the day ahead, I'd planned my simple yet fulfilling activities. Whether it was tending to my small garden or enjoying a stroll through the neighborhood, my routines filled my days with purpose and joy. I was thriving. As I adjusted to this new place, I held on to those cherished habits. Each routine became my anchor, a way to carve out familiarity amidst the changes. Slowly, I began to embrace the surroundings, hoping to build a life as rich and satisfying as the one I had left behind. Once I moved in, everything changed. At first, it felt like a break. Meals were brought to me. I didn't have to stand in the kitchen. If I needed something, I pressed a button. Help arrived. What I didn't realize was that the less I did, the weaker I became. I stopped moving as much, my legs got stiffer. I sat more, getting up from a chair became a chore. The muscles I'd maintained for years began to fade faster than I expected. It wasn't just me. I saw it happen to others. People who walked in on their own were using walkers, then wheelchairs. People who were independent now needed help with things that had always been easy. The more help we were given, the more we seemed to need it. My neighbor Alice was 81 and lively when she arrived. She took daily laps and said she wouldn't slow down because of a number. A few months later, she wasn't walking as much. Then came the walker. Then the wheelchair. One day she told me, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I aged 10 years in a few months." That's exactly how it felt. When you stop using your body, you start losing it. And in a place designed to make life easier, it's easy to forget that movement isn't just convenience, it's survival. If I'd known how quickly I'd lose strength, I would have fought harder to keep moving, to stay active, to push myself gently every day. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the drive to keep your body strong when everything is set up to make life effortless? Because once you slow down, getting back up isn't as easy as you think. If you're still with me, comment number 2 so I know you're here. Regret 5. Losing privacy and dignity. I didn't fully consider how much privacy I'd lose. At home, I had my space. I could close my door, sit in silence if I wanted, and do things on my own terms. In a nursing home, privacy is a luxury. From the moment I arrived, I felt watched. Staff coming in and out, scheduled room checks, shared spaces where you're rarely alone. Even simple things like getting dressed or using the bathroom often needed assistance. I know they were doing their jobs, but it's not easy to accept help with things you've done independently your entire life. I struggled with asking permission to do ordinary things. Want a shower? You might wait until someone is free. Need the restroom? Press the call button and sometimes wait longer than you'd like. Even meals. If you don't like what's on the menu, there may not be another option. Then there's the roommate issue. Not everyone gets a private room. Sharing a space with someone you didn't choose can be hard. I was lucky, but others weren't. Some had roommates who were noisy, unclean, or living with cognitive changes that made sleep nearly impossible. No matter how much you decorate, the room never fully feels like yours. Dignity is hard to lose. People knock, but don't always wait. You get spoken to like a patient instead of a person. Your day is dictated by a schedule you didn't create. It changes you. You start feeling less like yourself and more like a slot on a chart. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, am I prepared to give up the privacy and control I've had my whole life? Because once it's gone, it's hard to get back. Regret. 6. Realizing it's harder to leave than you think. When I moved in, I told myself it was temporary. I'd try it. If I didn't like it, I'd leave. I didn't realize how hard it would be to get out once I was in. It sounds simple. If it doesn't work, go home. But home wasn't the same. The house sat empty. Managing it from a distance got complicated. My children had already started making changes, selling things they thought I wouldn't need, even considering renting the place. When I said I wanted to return, they hesitated. Are you sure you can manage? Wouldn't it be safer to stay? We just want what's best. There was another truth. After months of not cooking, not cleaning, not walking far, I wasn't as strong. The independence I once had slipped. Moving back home suddenly felt bigger, heavier, scarier. That fear kept me stuck. I met others with the same story. They thought they were trying it for a short time, then discovered leaving wasn't simple. The longer you stay, the harder it is to adjust to life outside. Some people even lost the option completely. Their home was sold, savings were drained by the cost of care, and there was nowhere to return to. That's the part nobody tells you. Moving in feels reversible. For many, it isn't. The nursing home slowly becomes your whole world. The life you knew becomes a distant memory. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, am I prepared for the possibility that once I go in, leaving won't be simple? The barriers, financial, physical, emotional, can be bigger than you expect. If you're still watching and this helped, comment regret so I know you're here. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on the bell so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us keep making content that informs and encourages. Final thoughts. I don't regret growing older. I regret believing a nursing home was my only option. I walked in expecting comfort, safety, and a better life. What I found was a world that slowly took my independence, my privacy, my purpose, and pieces of my identity. Are nursing homes all bad? Not necessarily. Some people truly need that level of care. But before you make that decision, think carefully about what you're giving up. Because once you move in, life will not be the same. If I could do it over, I would fight harder to stay in my home, look for help without giving up my freedom, and make sure I truly needed that level of care before making a permanent move. If you're facing this choice, ask yourself, is this truly what's best for me, or just what seems easiest right now? The life you have today, your routines, your independence, your choices, is worth holding on to for as long as you can. Thank you for spending this time with me. Share one thing you learned and how you'll use it in your life. Your comments motivate and encourage us. If this was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Taking care of your future doesn't have to be hard. Start with one small, thoughtful step.